Hi, Annabelle. You're muted.
Sir, am I audible now?
Yes, you're totally audible. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. So, the first thing which I always like to do in this context is I'm changing your name. I'm adding those two magical letters with my own hands. Let me do the honors for you. So, rename. It takes a lot of, effort to just add two letters. Any other name you can change it. So, officially, say Annabelle Shaji. So, welcome to the club.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
So yeah, so when these two letters are added, it's not about them right now. When you first start to look at the result, what was your immediate reaction?
I could not believe at all
Hmm.
because I had just seen the pass percentage before I
Hmm.
checked my result. So after seeing that, I just thought that okay, I saw both groups percentage. I was like impossible, and then I thought, okay, fine, it may not go through. So I was just trying to calm myself and be like, okay, I'll just face it. And then when I saw the result, I saw a pass on both the groups. I started crying
Okay.
because it was totally unbelievable for me because I had no expectation of clearing both the groups at least. And then I started crying, and then like everyone were around me, but they were not with me in the room. They were in the surroundings, so they started hearing me crying, and then my grandmother came and she was asking me what happened, and the way I was crying, she thought I didn't clear. Then I And then I told her that I mean, with a lot of difficulty, I told her I cleared. So then she started shouting at me, "You cleared, and why you're crying?" Oh, after that,
Hmm.
so it was really funny. And then my mom came, and she also saw the result. And she also started crying because with me, she was there the whole journey with me. So it was a big journey for her as well. So she started crying, and then she was really happy. And then we called my dad, and he was also very happy. And then my grandfather came. And then when I told him, he started crying. Like he doesn't cry normally. So when I hugged him and I told him, and he started crying, that was like a big moment for me because these are things which I don't normally experience. And then my mom started calling and telling all her relatives, and even they started crying. So it was like it's like a big thing for the entire family.
Nice.
So it was a really big blessing that day.
Now I keep talking about students. Make your parents happy. You made everyone cry, including your yes, like it was like a contagium. Like I
Yes.
cried, grandmother cried, grandmother cried, everyone cried. Good, good.
Yeah.
I understand the depth of the emotion involved. That's really happy to see people involved so much. That is the reason why I keep saying CA is a family course. So
Yes.
this truly reflects during that
Yeah.
kind of emotion. People who would never ever, leave a drop of tear, no matter what
Yeah.
happens in their life, probably ever. When this happens, that is a kind of emotional connection, especially with this course.
Yes.
So you explained it beautifully. I'm able to feel it. Although I was not there, but now I'm able to feel. Okay, this is what would have happened. Like great. So Annabelle, when you said this word, the past person was around 9%, right? Last time.
Yes. Yes.
When you looked at 9%, probably okay. How would I clear? And then you cleared. It's a reality.
Hmm.
So what do you think has worked the best for you to clear? Like what has worked as compared to your previous attempts? So what made you get into that 9% club?
So firstly, it's a big grace and blessing that I would acknowledge. And then like this time, uh, I worked more in terms of uh, at least even though my mind was all haywire because I had expected the last time a better result,
Better.
but this time I was like, okay, I mean. I was like, I stopped. I mean, I kept my emotions apart for a bit, even though it was very difficult. But I thought, okay, at least this time even though it was a very painful effort, I tried to do more. I mean, even if I couldn't do, I tried to catch hold of people who would help me push on. Like I'll call my mother, I'll call my friends, or so that whole process of studying, even if it is difficult, it just goes on. So that was one difference. And I could really feel the pain in preparation compared to the previous times. So that was one thing from my side which I did. But otherwise, I would say it's definitely a big grace, because in CA exams you need that
We have
kind
a
of,
right,
yeah,
right.
because you need that. Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing because normally results happen because of cumulative efforts. Because let's say people
Yes.
think I did not pass because of the 1.5 day before the exam. No, it won't impact. Like
Mm,
things are solid. Let's say
mm,
one storm or weather cannot destroy the whole house. Like slight changes here and there, but then the ultimate outcome is a consequence of multiple things which you do across a period of time.
yes.
Sometimes one attempt is sufficient, maximum 1 year. Like that's the reason why one attempt for many people, when you do things right, if
Mm,
not 1 year. So this is the maximum stretch which you have to keep. So in the previous attempt, where you kind of worked hard, but then it's not just about failing, but then probably you might have expected better scores.
mm,
But here it's different, right? Constantly, one time you expect this, this comes. Next time you expect this happens. So overall, if you look at it, did you put in the work? Yes. Do you deserve to be a CA? Yes. It's just a question of time. And it's not about what you think about your preparation. It's all about what ICA thinks about your preparation. Because
yes.
uh, the point is we get carried away by the quality of preparation
Mm,
which student equates is with the amount of pain. Let's say if it feels like you put in a lot of effort, it
mm,
looks like I prepared well. That's how they say it. I put in a lot of effort, I prepared well.
mm,
But then the reality is, the less efforts you put in them, it's like effortlessness. When you kind of move into a state of effortlessness where you don't bother about your internal
mm,
distractions, where you're not worried about the amount of time you are studying, where you're not
mm,
worried about the quantum of sacrifices you're making. Only when
mm,
you get into that zone, that is when your preparation becomes effortless. Most likely, people will clear in those times because you never feel that you're actually putting in a lot of effort. You never feel that it's very cumbersome. So that is the reason why your reaction is very different. You're like, I did things normally and about that because you put in that effort, but that effort did not feel like effort.
mm,
In the previous attempts or whenever it is, what happens is you're putting in an effort, but it's effort intensive. You feel that effort. So that's when you
mm,
think the preparation is more over there. But in reality, it's slightly different in terms of how it operates. And the best part is once you build a particular base, once you kind of build a particular base, from there it is always easy to process and it is always easy to take this forward. So this particular part and this particular aspect of the journey is memorable for you and it teaches you the most important lessons.
yes.
So moving on from here, what are the next things? The other day, I think we spoke about your interview and you are working on certain things. So now, what kind of space you are looking to get into in terms of building a career in the next 3 to 5 years?
This is the big question for me. Like, what career to get? I was thinking of working. Like, there's always this path of higher studies and career, right? So, for now, I wanted to take the career path because there's a long time of sitting at home and just studying. So I wanted to get out and gain more practical exposure before I pursue anything higher in studies. So in terms of career, that's what I'm trying to figure out as to uh, what would work best for me. So yeah, like I I I don't know exactly. I'm still trying to figure out. That's what I wanted to know, how do we look at this from a structured manner? How do you analyze this? So all I've been doing now is just collecting some sort of information on what are the various domains. Because the thing with CA is you have so many things which you can get into. So finding out which domain works best is something
One,
which
yeah.
I'm yeah something which I'm trying to do. And then yeah, like after CA, post CA, I realized the power of networking, talking to people, and how we can get a lot of information from people. So that's what I'm trying to do as of now.
Okay. So generally, your answers lies in the question. Now, use a very good, term called structured thinking. So
Mm,
this is a decision-making process which is random.
mm.
What is the other way of structure is random, right? There is some level of
Yes.
randomness in terms of what to approach. Should I focus in one particular domain and get expertise, or should I
Mm,
try out everything? How do I decide the right career, and what stage should I try in? Let's say, should I first join an MNC, then settle in Big Four, or should I start with the Big Four, or should I start with the mid-sized firm, once again deepen my expertise, or probably move into a different country, or there are a lot of things, right? Or should I
yes.
slightly do a step-up course into tech? And all of these are there, always there. And probably for some of them even practice, for some of them even teaching, and all these questions are there. Now let us quickly look at what has already worked for you. Now, in terms of how we take decisions is based on the background information. Like all this artificial intelligence and decision making engines
Mm,
will go back and look into the past and extrapolate the future. Now, in your case, you experience a randomness, especially I'm sure there is randomness in your preparation, but there's some point in time.
yes.
Now you reached a structure. Now you
Mm,
moved from randomness to structure. And one important thing, Anne, basically, this is what I advise all the students. Like all students are grateful to the mentorship, they're grateful to the process, and they're thankful to me. That's fine. That's fine. I respect that. But it is important to understand what is the change in you which has led to the thing.
mm,
There are two ways of looking at it because everyone, when see, it takes it takes a lot for someone to come out openly and said that we have cleared because of your all along.
mm,
That's there. The internal gratitude. It's good. It's because it's not about students and us. It's in general also. I'm also very open and vocal about what I learned from whom, and because once you have that gratitude, it builds your personality. It's not about your mentor. It's not about the other person. It's about you. Because when you know that, that's there. But in this process, you should not lose what you actually done and what actually changed. Because
mm,
okay, I joined mentorship, I cleared. Now this won't give you enough insights in terms of what changes happen within you.
mm,
What that is a level of granularity which has to work. Now the
mm,
object of this call generally, we kind of prepare a case study, we kind of discuss things about. The object of the call is at the end of the call. This is what our previous students say. At the end of the call, you are far more clear. Now,
mm,
how do I make you clear? One, in terms of understanding what is already. That is one.
mm,
In
yes.
terms of knowing what has to happen, we're connecting both. And this is in
Okay.
the form of questions where you share your experience, where you share your expectation. And I don't say anything, but you yourself will be speaking a lot about what has to happen. We'll be able to correlate. Okay, so this is exactly the context of the discussion. So I'll answer this question through you only, where you'll get reasonable clarity. So what I'll do is I think my team would have created a simple PPT. I'll share that. We'll go through what has happened. And
Mm,
from there, let's move into what can happen and what should happen. Should we do that?
yes, sir.
Cool. So I'm sharing the screen. Is the screen visible, Anne?
Not yet. Yes, sir. Yeah.
So this is,
On 9th January, Jesus made me see Annebelle Shaji, and I would like to thank C. Himakan sir for
I think this is what you have shared right here.
Yes.
making radical changes to my preparation strategy. Before joining, I had an extremely defeated mindset where I couldn't figure my way out through this vast syllabus and had difficulty in just completing the video lectures. But after joining, Sir changed my mindset completely and gave me a new perspective. Also, starting from the end, that is the RTPs and the question papers, gave me what are the key focus points, and then following a question based approach made it an active learning process. Next area where I struggled in was in planning and implementation, but sir's planning techniques like color coding strategy and focus block slots made it extremely simple. Also, the Super 36 cohort and the weekly challenges with a subject mentor made the process of implementing very easy. Lastly, I struggled with writing practice, recall, and exam practice. So, the stress on writing and recalling after every 50 minutes and techniques like DAR made me to rewire my brain and rewire my strategy. Also, the focus on writing an exam at the end of every week made it a very, even though you are not prepared, made it a very challenging, but it helped me overcome my fear. And even the inputs from the subject mentor was very helpful in guiding my preparation in the right path. So I would like to recommend this to anyone who is struggling in their CA preparation, and I would like to thank sir once again for helping me achieve this feat.
So, Annabelle, when we ask you to summarize, you have done it beautifully well. The reason why we asked you to specifically, I think Srinath would ask you, do it in 2 minutes, do it in 2 minutes. Not with the impression is the more you talk about it, it's good for feedback and all. But we make you to do it in 2 minutes because we want you to focus on what actually good. Now, if you look at what you have said, one thing is you indirectly spoke about randomness, how to handle video lectures and all. That is one. Randomness, much before you just spoke about randomness. Second, you said something very beautiful, like beginning with the end. When I say MTP, RTP, now let's focus on these two things. Same. Now, your question here is, how do I reduce the randomness, approach my job seeking a career clarity in a structured manner? This is the first question.
Yes.
Now, this is the question, you answered it yourself. You began with the end in mind, right? There. MTP, RTP is end in mind. Now, here, what is the end? Let's think about what is the end. In your case, what is the end we are looking at? Is it an immediate job placement which you're talking about? Or is it like 2 years down the lane? I want to be settled in this space, which will help me to build my career also, seek a partner in case one is not already there. So you have to understand what is the end we are trying to achieve with this. Right? Because when you start with coaching, when you start with lectures and books, there is no end. What is the end? Like the end is not completion of 90 hours or watching finishing at 1.5 views. That is not the end, right? When you say end, we're not talking about the end. When end is the objective, end objective. Now, end objective is the conversion of this has to happen into a knowledge. It has to happen in the time of exam. We are presenting it in a particular. That is the end goal. Now, here, all the efforts which are talking about career, what exactly is the end goal? Now, that is something which you have to think and answer. Like in this context, it could be a 30-year target. It could be, I would say, uh, something like 2-year target. It could be anything, right? It could be like the whole point is, are we looking at something long term? Are we looking at something medium term? Depending on that, the level of effort, the depth of understanding, the process has to work. So, in your mind, what is the end goal regarding the current career question which you have? What is the end goal?
You mean in terms of like where I want to be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, yes, good.
So where I want to be is so sir, if you could I mean give me some.
And see, this is not something I'll tell you. This is not something which you have to, think through. Now, as of now, what's there on your mind? Is getting a job is immediate priority, or you're slightly okay with this for a longer object? Like you understand, right? For many people, let me first get a job, then let's decide. For some people, I'll anyways get a job. Let me find the right space which will suit my mentality. This is how different the objectives are, right? So when I cleared as a 21,
Yeah.
I was not worried about a job.
Hmm.
I wanted to focus on the direction, like what direction of my life I want to go.
Hmm.
At that point of time, I did not find a difference between audit, accounting, and all because at the end of the day, you go and work. You look at it, you're you're selling your freedom, you're selling your flexibility for money. Do I want to do that? I don't know whether I want to do it or not. That's why I took 6 months and I took a break. I had a gap year after CA. I did not do anything. I was trying to figure out. For me, clarity is very important. Now, the reason why see, you're asking me for clarity. Now,
Yes.
why am I able to give you clarity? Because I sought clarity at that point of time
Hmm.
when everybody was busy working. I sat down idly and built clarity.
Yes.
Only when I have clarity, I can give you clarity.
Hmm.
Now, this is for me. Now, for you, for me, it's a very long term decision. At some point of time, because I understood that the more information the world has, the more confusing it becomes for the people. That is the reason why very first program from Him Life School is confusion to clarity in any sphere, in any domain. I was clear that people will be confused. So let me build some clarity on my own confusion, from my own confusion. So that itself became an independent goal. So that is the reason why the focus was not on which company, what package, and all of that. No, that's fine. You kind of see, I did it in the campus. I didn't understand the ecosystem. I didn't understand the possibility. Then I looked at it. Okay, most likely you'll start with 10 lakh. Let's say 10 lakhs will start. If you want to make one crore per year, it's going to take, I don't know, 15 years, probably 12 to 15 years in that space to make 1 crore per year. But the 10 to this 12 to 15 journey, I'm not sure if I would have really enjoyed the entire journey. But then I realized if you do something on your own, if you spend 10 years onto something with your heart and soul, you'll end up making the same amount. And here the journey is far more customized and seamless. But what's the difference? In the first 10 years, in the first 10 years, in the own journey which you're talking about, you're not going to make a lot of money. It's going to be very hard. With subsequent 10 years, it's going to be like magic, seamless. You'll fall in love with the process. But do you want to have an average flatline curve for the rest of the 30 years? It's like BCom and CA. When you want to take a decision, graduation flatline, it's flat, like you want to get graduation. No surprise, no pain. Here, previous attempt painful, this
Yes.
attempt happy, like extremes. And
Yes.
what is it? You want a flat highway ride or do you want an off-road experience? No, I like this. Okay, I like this. I like the depth of the problem. And I liked what happened in CA. Because so I thought, okay, I'm not going to have a flat life. What is flat life? 9 to 5, something which probably is good, but then not for me. Now, when I say 9 to 5, there are ranges. Now, this 9 to 5 where people make 10,000 per month is harsh. This 9 to 5 where people make 10 lakhs per month probably is fine. It depends, right? Same 9 to 5 or 9 to 9, whatever you call it. So, fundamental level, you think through this. If you're not clear, start working. So, you'll never regret what you did.
Yes.
You'll regret what you won't do. In career, like in relationships, different. It's the other way around. So in career, especially, you'll never regret what you did. It's okay. You did this, you did this, you did this. That's fine. That's totally fine. But with respect to the outcome. So basic level, are you someone who is a bit introspective or reflective? I'm not saying this is good or bad. If this is there, this has to be addressed. Otherwise, you can't survive. Because while I was working the Big Four, fabulous company, great people, fantastic parties, and everything. Like I loved the work, I loved everything about it. But reflection, my heart is asking for meaning. It wants to connect. Now, other people don't understand this stuff. Totally fine.
Yes.
It's totally fine. Like it's totally fine. Now, for me, freedom happens at the mind space level. For someone, freedom happens at the physical space. Now, if my house is so much SFT, I find it free. For me, the mindless, if it has this range of possibilities, I'll feel free. It depends. You don't have to question that. You have to accept it and start focusing on this is important, this is important. This is the basic level. Having said that, this answer is slightly philosophical. Okay, it looks and feels good. Okay, good to hear. But what next? What has to happen? Slightly practical. Here, you look at a time frame of 3 to 5 years, especially for women. 3 to 5 year time frame, especially when you're seeking alliances, or probably when you want to get into someone's family. have a basic understanding of what kind of life you want to build together. Let's say you're marrying a child or something. Now, what are the possibilities? Both of you can practice together. That's both good and bad. You have a great partner, fantastic.
Mm.
The relation goes here and there, pathetic here, pathetic here.
Yes.
So that is something which you'll have to do. Now, how would you slightly moderate it? One of you go to office, one of you do practice. Or you can always detach it. Marriage cannot be diluted, but then partnership of a firm can be easily diluted as compared to this. So these are random possibilities. These are random possibilities. Now, for me, I married a doctor. For me, I didn't want to mix my personal and professional
First.
life.
Yes.
It's two separate things. I don't know leverage because see, when you clear CA at 21, you have fantastic opportunities like daughter CA final, a father is an established practicing CA, everything's set up. You just have to, it's all well built. Decent, not bad. But then for me, the girl was important, like because I'm not marrying the father.
Yes.
So and it's fine. It's totally fine. Like you can be practical about it. You can be idealistic about it. So for me, it's like there is only one person in your life whom you're sharing with everything, right? Now that
Yes.
should not happen for different reasons. Like
Yes.
this, at the same time, it's not a very very emotional decision as reasonable practicality, reasonable reality is there, but you find a balance. So
Yes.
now with that context, let's say if that is reasonably clear,
Mm.
the step which you take will be slightly aligned towards it.
Mm.
Let's say if you as a family are looking at practicing CAs,
Mm.
if that is the case, probably either joining a big Indian firm or
Mm.
joining a big four will make a lot of sense for you to add some level of dimension to get it. The other way around. No, this is not something which you are getting into. Probably, let me find someone where we have a Bangalorean life. What is Bangalorean? Double income group,
Mm.
staying in prestige gated community, and
Ah.
that's what my sister does. My sister is a chartered accountant. Both are earning handsomely, and they have a particular life where the life is stable, certain. They live in Prestige and got a Prestige apartment. So everything it's either Shobha, Prestige, or Brigade. Or there are five branded reputed builders over there, and I think I'm not sure about what is there in Kerala. So, but then uh, most of the Keralites move to Bangalore in general. I
Yes.
saw that. So if there's a particular city, that's fine. Like you decide the range of things. Now, do you
Mm.
want to have this life always shaky or this life? It's what at a fundamental level. These are important questions as compared to audit versus taxation. Now you
Mm.
join Big Four audit, Big Four taxation is flat. It's a flat line life. The
Mm.
reason why people keep confused is they focus on the micro granularities of comparison, not on the absolute granularity.
Mm.
What is absolute granularity? This direction is different. Within 9 to 5, anything is the same. What different is it? Because you have to work. Are you working with a laptop or are you working with people is a fundamental question.
Yes.
If you're wasting time on should I work on a HP laptop or a MacBook, it's a stupid question. It doesn't make a bloody difference.
Mm.
You're wasting time and energy in trying to find out something very minuscule. It does not matter. Should I
Mm.
join Deloitte or EY? Again, that's not matter much. This
Yeah.
is you should focus on the macros. Now,
Mm.
this is something which you have to look at. Okay.
Mm.
So the two things which I answered, start with the end goal.
Mm.
Are you linking this with something else in your life?
Mm.
Yes, no. No, fine. Then focus on getting a job without thinking too much.
Mm.
Or do you definitely want to link it where you are someone who don't want to take random decisions? Now, my decision making is so strongly built. The
Mm.
career decision which I took is a 30-year decision. Nothing changes. Now the world
Mm.
changes, IGA changes, syllabus changes, new
Mm.
technologies come in. Anything changes. For me, I operate at a fundamental level. The direction of how I want to go in the next 30 years is largely in a linear manner. Like
Mm.
things keep changing at the family level, professional level. You kind of auto adjust it, but the direction is different. Like direction is seamless. It's in a particular
Mm.
way. So you
Mm.
think through longer decision, shorter decision, or whatever which works. Okay, this answers the first two questions. Clear?
Mm.
Now,
Yes.
we looked at randomness. We looked
Mm.
at begin with end in mind.
Mm.
Apply the same. Reduce randomness. Start with end in mind. This will give you clarity.
Yes.
Now tell me the other three things which were very helpful in the mentorship. Three things which extremely work for you. Which work for you.
So, like, one thing which really worked for me from the mentorship was everything was decided. Like, the things that are to be done, everything is set. So you
Mm.
just have to stick to that process, and
Mm.
then your energy is going behind action and not thinking. So you have certain things to do. You put your entire energy on getting those things done. So then the thinking gets eliminated and it's all action. So that was something which was very useful for me because I was someone who thinks so much. So when you have
So,
just action points, that is something which was really effective. And then in terms of another thing was you know the same thing where you drill down on writing and on recalling. So you are putting your mind and your body into effort. So
mm,
that makes the entire process much more better instead of going in just a waste of mental energy. This
mm,
was putting the effort into the right track. And then another thing was, where you evaluate whatever effort you've put in with the standards, that is
mm.
with the RTPs, with the suggested answers. And then you see, okay, where are you lacking? And then you put your effort again in bringing it to the desired this thing. So in that way, it was very, very structured and less thinking and more doing is something what I would like to iterate again.
Focus here. You have to listen to. So now the point is, we discussed the first two things, right? One is randomness.
Mm.
Next is begin with the end in mind. These two things are sort of.
Yes.
Now the third thing which I talk about is everything was clear.
Mm.
Everything was decided.
Ah.
Now how do you decide something? And because these two are, when you know the end in mind, then you know what to do, right?
Yes.
Now you're not knowing what to do because you don't know what to do at the macro level.
Ah.
So once point two is sorted, point three automatically happens. Everything
Mm.
gets decided. Let's say I want to join in a big four
Mm.
in audit.
Mm.
Then everything is sorted. Now the other day when you spoke to Nishike, because you
Mm.
came to me with a specific context. Now there is
Ah.
a partner round. This is what I have to do. Now for
Yes.
this to happen, let's do this.
Mm.
For this to happen, let's do this. Now if
Mm.
you come to me with a generic thing, probably I need to join somewhere.
Mm.
Now whom should I put you to? Whom should I make you talk? Right? You
Yes.
understand?
Mm.
This is linear to this.
Yes.
And in terms of benchmarking, once again, the reason why I put you in a call with that guy is he spent 5 years in that company. Five
Yes.
plus years, he has a very proper understanding of what goes. Now,
Mm.
when you know what has to happen, then the
Mm.
benchmark has to be relevant.
Mm.
Now, I'll tell you what bullshit normally happens, like benchmarking. Somebody scores 20 marks in audit.
Mm.
Now, somebody tries to inspire him by putting somebody who has got 92 on audit.
Mm.
Now, where is this guy? Where is that guy? What is the kind of
Okay.
effort? That's bullshit benchmarking. Now, you need to
Mm.
understand contextual benchmarking with a relevant reference where it should be relevant and achievable. You are here, the same set. So that is the reason why we never talk about ranks. Because for
Mm.
someone who is suffering through attempts and attempts and attempts, it's not the rank is not a possibility. But in reality, that's a very ambitious goal. Now I would say, let's say, rank is a class of car. Let's say rank is Mercedes. Now somebody doesn't have a car. Start with Hyundai. Start with something which is easier to take a simple first step than convert and migrate or whatever. You directly look at it, you'll never get there because it's hard. We cannot take one random example of somebody who has failed 10 times and become a ranker. You need to have the right benchmark, right? So the 3 and 4 points which you mentioned in terms of benchmarking, again, are linear to the point number one and point number two. Decide what has to happen. You build a system where you don't have to take multiple decisions. And then you benchmark with this. Now, let's say you want to get into this particular big four in stat audit. Now, how do you benchmark things? Now, in terms of benchmarking, if I have to crack this interview, these are the expectations from these 3 rounds: HR round, technical round, partner round. Partner round, what is the benchmarking? Someone who has cracked all this. You are here, not sure whether you can crack it or not. What is the benchmark here? Someone who has already cracked it. When you talk to them, okay, at HR round, what did they ask? What did you say? How did they want? This is exactly one way. Second, there are websites like Glassdoor. Even you have a lot of forms like Quora and here and there. A lot of people talk about it. There are a lot of short-term courses. So the whole point is focus in finding out the closest benchmark, not the farthest. I'm saying it's very contrary to what people do. People go to extreme benchmarking. AIR one strategy for someone who never crossed 25, right? How to become a millionaire for someone who had never earned a rupee in their life. So the benchmarking Bring it down, bring it down. Don't listen to a partner interview about what has to be done. That's a different context. Bring it down. Where you are, who is in the immediate next step, and probably who has went through a journey. How do someone, like we spoke about articleship, right? I told you something. It's done and dusted. If you don't believe that you have to get it, can't get it.
Yes.
How do someone who took attempts, who did not study an articleship, get into Big Four? Did it not happen? Did it happen? Yes or no? No. If you are the first one, then it's a very different thing. Now, in my life, most of the things which I did, I'm the first one to do. I don't have any reference. For me, I have to build one because I want to be the reference. Now, when you are the first one to do something, you don't have reference. You become the role model for other reference.
Yes.
You'll become a new reference for a different set of people. Now it's hard. That's it. Now, for cracking an interview in Big Four, you don't need that. Somebody would have already cracked. You understand the game. What has worked? What are the USPs? Do you have them? No. Yes, no. Yes, great. Let's follow the approach. No. With this approach, what? Let's say somebody did not study in Big Four. I would say somebody did not work in Big Four in the articleship, did not clear in first attempt, still got into Big Four. How? 67 in audit, an exceptional command in audit. Do I have that? No. I have only 42 on audit. Just assuming, no, these are not relevant. Now I have only 42 on it. I'm not good in audit. So how do I build it? But I still want to get into audit. Then let me build certain information. Let's say Big Four talk about assertions. Now the entire audit is based on assertions and what could go wrong. These are the set of assertions that the management gives. Now, Big Four, when you prepare for plan for an audit, they think about what could go wrong in testing this assertion. And for each what could go wrong, there is a control. Now, once you understand this framework, your chance of cracking this Big Four is significantly high because most of the questions are centered around what you're supposed to do, not what you are done. What you're supposed, if what you are done is not relevant, if what you're supposed to do is relevant, they'll take it. So this is exactly how the benchmarking happens. Clear? So once again, I'm going back in terms of the fundamentals of what has worked. Somebody's not clearing for 7-8 attempts. If they're cleared, it's not automatic, it's not magic, it's logical. It's ultra logical. When something is logical, you build the same logical structure and you make an algorithm. Every time it happens, you kind of make an algorithm. Like when there is a situation. When there is a situation, is it a decision or a problem? Now, for you, career is a decision. Cracking exam is a problem. There is no decision making. You understand the difference? Clearing CA, final, it's a problem to solve, not a decision to take. Getting into a career is not a problem to solve, it's a decision to take. Once you take the decision, then it becomes a problem. So decision making traits and process are very different from problem solving skill. Now your inability to take a decision is a problem. That's what I'm solving. Now this is not my decision. I'm trying to. This is a problem for me. Your inability to solve a decision is a problem for me, which I am trying to solve. Once I solve this problem gets resolved, and then you kind of take a decision. Then we get into a different problem. Not the indecisiveness has become a problem. This is exactly how they approach. Understand? Okay.
Yes.
Now let's get back and quickly find what else has worked or what else has not worked, and based on that we'll come back. Screen visible, and
Yes, sir.
okay. So I think I like this frame where you're looking at your own video. Perfect. Let's move to the next part. So you're joined the Hall of Fame. Like I think when you probably at some point of time you listen to this.
Yes. So
Anyone in particular, and like when you had to listen to one of those videos, anyone in particular you have in your mind?
I really liked Shree's video because it was like, it really summarized what the whole process was, and it really showed, what you had to do, where we were going wrong. It was like a whole how to clear CA. If you could put in a few minutes, it would be Shree's video, I guess.
Fantastic. And I think you have made it more efficient. She spoke for 5 minutes, 20 seconds. I think you kind of ultra summarized it. And I think we have made it super social because we realized you would have joined a webinar in which free video would have been played.
Yes.
And then you took a decision. Now, right now, as you're speaking, I have a bunch of future CAs sitting with me right now. So this is new. Like, this is an insane update. Guys, come here. So, okay, from the left, right, I don't know. So Mitra Manikandan, so and she has to clear her group one only. If she clears group one, she'll become a chartered accountant. And we also have Manju. So Manju has both the groups, like the way you are clear, she has both the groups. And Dikshita is writing her inter. And we have Anshu. Anshu is from Kottayam.
Yes.
So she also has both the groups. Now look at it. Earlier, I was showing a recorded video in a web workshop. Now you are live, and these are real. Matlab, now this is the kind of impact which you want to go. I think the only thing which is missing is you staying there. I think I should have called you here. It would have been so that is something which we're going to do next. So Anne is actually saying, ki, so you see this video here, right? Sri Kirloskar. When she first watched that video, she was very inspired with that because he explained what has to be done and what worked for her. Now she is doing this for you live. This is live actually. It's literally live. And then you guys are also here. So the impact of this should be far more effective than what she had. So good. So you'll be joining the Hall of Fame, man. So this is something. I don't know where to fit your video, but somewhere I'll put it in the center or something. I'll do that. So this is one. Next, this is where it started. Now, marks. I think when she was in November 22, you can see the scores. You can see the scores. Like if you're worried about what has happened earlier, it doesn't matter. No, because I'm giving a perspective of now she has CA. Nobody looks into that. Nobody cares. It's no longer relevant. So your mark sheet or your problems, you have to make it less relevant. I think that's the whole objective. And like something happened, we don't want them to talk about it. We don't want them to talk about it. Which means, how do you replace this? Is it a mark sheet like this or like this? So you can't remove it or erase it. Replace it. Like there's a patch on the wall. Stick a new mark sheet. You can't keep fighting that I did not study. Don't do disclaimers. I did not study. Whatever it is. Stick a new mark sheet. That's what she did. So this is exactly the score. And let's, this is her message on the results day. So this is how it all started. So I would like to get all the four messages in a similar way. And next time, what I'll do is I'll bring these four people together and create this context, like no, the multiplier effect, the compounding effect is what I want to do. And people kind of do things, say things after they happen. I say things and make it happen. So, no. So let's look at the mark sheet here. This is an important discussion. You want to sit or how do we?
Yeah, we can. Yeah.
Whatever is comfortable. So, and we are spending some time here where we are trying to understand how did this shift happen? Like, because technically, in terms of the overall process, the first thing you said is you had the randomness reduced. When you had to prepare, there is no structure to the preparation. You didn't know what to do and how to utilize the resources. So once you came into the mentorship process, you were able to find some structure and you're able to have a decisive path. Next, the other thing you said is the end game optimization. Starting with RTP, starting with MTP, starting tracking questions so that you know where you have to go. And then you didn't have to take decisions where everything is laid out for you. Those are the three, four things which is spoke about in terms of the mentorship part. And also the techniques, the intervention, exam mistake tracking, and we spoke about all of this in length. Now they also are already experiencing it. Now we are moving from the overall picture to the specific granularity. Now when I talk about granularity, let's talk about each paper. When you talk about 36, now if I'm looking at this particular paper, what happened? Like what changed in your process which helped you move from 36 to 57? This is a significant shift. This is more than 50% improvement. From point A to point B, it's more than 50% improvement. So what actually you did for this? What changed? What helped?
So for FR, I think concept clarity is one thing, and then a lot of writing practice. Like especially towards we always allocate a week or 5 days to FR towards the end, where because of that nervousness, we are not able to. We just keep reading. We don't actually practice so much. and we think that we have already practiced, so we focus on just reading stuff. So for me, because I was getting very nervous, what I thought was I'm not going to focus on that, I'm going to do, so that that energy shifted. So for my FR exam, I ensured that I'm practicing all the solving by hand, all those important
Mm.
questions. So,
Mm.
and fortunately, even though the paper was tough, there were
Right.
things which I identified which are very similar to what I had practiced. So
Mm.
I went and attacked those areas first, even though I saw that there are, ambiguities in the paper. But I went and, solidified my position uh, with the areas I knew. So that was one thing which I think worked in effort. That amount of writing practice, even in those last few days, where I feel like we tend to ignore that. So that writing practice, and even if you are facing a tricky paper, attending those questions which will fetch you marks. I had made that mistake in May 23 because I had attended a question. I thought I was good with the financial instruments, so I went and attended that question, but I had faced so much difficulty in that question, and so much of time had been wasted. So, and when I checked the paper also, I hadn't scored much marks in it. So it was a significant waste of time and marks also. So, so that was one thing I ensured, that focus small and focus on things which you are sure that will give you marks, so that that confidence is established and you can tackle, even though the rest of the paper was difficult. That amount of confidence will help you tackle those difficult areas as well. So that's what.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think this is the case with all practical papers also, right? Like other
Yes,
arithmetic and practical papers, where there's some level of vagueness. You kind of write it right and solve it. I think that always works.
yes.
Okay, any questions regarding this one? She's saying that you have to write it out, especially for papers where there's a gap. So, do you accept it on face value, or do you want to know? Have any questions?
And when I meant writing, you focus on the important, the tricky parts in FR. There are indices where you have tricky questions in each thing, right? Or a very conceptual question. So you don't waste your time by solving everything, but by the time you would have known which are the key areas, which are the tricky areas. So those questions, if you can spend your time writing, that worked for me because it managed my nerves as well as kept that flow in hand. So that even in exam, when you write an exam, the first paper you write, there's always so much nervousness and difficulty in writing. But because I had that writing practice all just before the exam as well, that solved at least that initial nerve for me in terms
Right.
of writing. So I just wanted to make
So,
it
I'm
clear.
try that question. You go forward and ask.
FR is a very huge subject. You have a lot of portions to cover. So sometimes you leave something, right? So how do you your confidence level goes down when you don't cover everything? That's
Yes.
yeah. So how do you face it? Like when you have, when the question paper comes from the part where you have not covered a lot. So
So this is very relevant because I had done my own analysis and I had not stressed on a few indices even in those last few days. So, and I had not focused on India's 108 so much. And then a big question came from there. So then, but one thing we don't realize is, CA is, I mean, the paper is for 120 marks, okay? And you have to attend only 100 marks. And in that also, you don't have to score 100. Your scoring is how much you would be targeting, maximum 80 or something like that. So if you think from that point of view, it doesn't matter. I don't know, this question is irrelevant because there are other things which I know. So I attend those things, and then if I have time, I come to this and I do what I can in this. This is something which I learned from sirs, this thing where like so many people had said that you focus on uh, the things you focus on the things you can attend, because you know a lot of things, you learn 100%, but what comes is only 5%. So what's going to be tested is also only those 5%. So you ensure you know the things you know well so that you can attend it. But those minute things is, again, it's like if you see the big structure, there is a scope where you can this thing. But then, yeah, if at all you have to, like, you face that time crunch and you want to cover, you can make small notes and refer those notes at least, like how we have DER and all those micro notes. If you don't have any time at all, at least going through those things can at least help you to attend something and make at least score 2 or 3 marks rather than a zero, I guess, if that helps.
Yeah, yes, I'm good. Any other questions regarding this particular point? We'll move to the next part. Anju, do you have questions regarding this? Regarding regarding this technique or subject, right?
So I have a particular doubt with respect to like audit. I mean, I face great difficulty in audit, like attempting audit or structuring the answer for audit. So what usually happens is suppose I pick a question in the question paper for audit exam, and I pick a question, and the first thing that comes to my mind is what I start writing. And while writing that is when I think, okay, this could have been put in a different way, or maybe this is not the essay that I would, this question is asking for. And then I lose track of it and I get confused as to should I continue what I'm writing or should I strike it off and start a new thing. I mean, tell me as to how do you structure that answer and yeah, please help me understand how to attempt answers or write in audit.
So I also face this issue where, I also used to directly start writing and then I realized maybe I could have done it in a better way. So like I may not be the best person, but what thing I adopted was, they always say that especially for audit, the keywords and the key points. Majority of the answers in audit would be in point form. The core of the answer. After that, you elaborate and you structure it in a better manner. But the core points as to how you should answer, like what are the key points, what standard it is referring to, what are the keywords, and then you would have read the question once or twice, so you would know what is the issue that they are addressing and how would you answer to that issue. So you first jot down, I mean, in points, maybe in the question paper or at the back of your answer sheet, what are the points that you need to ensure are there. And then you read the question and you see what is the problem that they're addressing. And then you like correlate both whatever points you have mentioned and the problem, and you arrive at the conclusion. So I think you first structure it in your mind. That takes significant amount of practice, but you can practice first in writing and then slowly bring it to your mind if you can do it by that time. But the first thing is you write down the points and then you think how can I structure it, because see, the one thing which I realize is we always think we can become perfect, but we see that we have only 3 hours, right? So we have to realize that as well. So you try to do it in a manner you can to the best, but assume accept that this is the best you can do and move on. Because if we think so much, there is also time that is slipping away. So like for now, I guess what you can do is you jot down what are the important points, and then you read the question once or twice so that you know exactly what it is asking, and then bring it to a structure. And once you keep practicing, I think it gets better. And one last thing is, we can't aim for perfection, because always they say, right, an above average answer is much better than a perfect answer. So it's especially in audit where you have to write a lot and you have that time issue. So you might yeah, go for an average answer, because anyway, how much ever best you do, there will be a certain amount of limitation in the amount of marks they're going to give you. So yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So FR is understood, and let's say audit is understood. Any specific tips for SFM, and like what worked for SFM?
SFM, I guess the same. SFM conceptual clarity is very important because the way they ask questions, like it goes deep. So you need to really, and the thing with SFM, it's much smaller than FR, so you can you know afford that investment in learning the concepts properly, so that and a significant amount of practice. So no matter what type of question they ask you, you're sure that you can attend it well. Yeah, and same thing in SFM. There are those questions which always irritate you. So make sure you're well practiced with those things. I think SFM is
Yes.
that's my input for SFM.
The most interesting part of a mark sheet is TT. It's 250% improvement.
Yeah, I
Only to
actually
53 and IDT is like 300%. 300%.
is like,
Yeah,
how do you
so
make that jump?
you can look at the excitement.
I've been wanting to ask that DT and IDT is like 19 to 58. How did you like cover the gap? That's like a very big jump.
So actually, I hadn't prepared for DT and IDT. I had given group one and the elective when I had attempted. So, but then I had some just very basic from your first time coaching that this thing. So one thing for DT and IDT, which I would like to say is what I did, like I had attended classes for them in a crash manner, and those classes were very effective because first of all, it was live. It was not the recorded class. So the difference was, like in DT and IDT, what we miss out is memory, because there are so many things, So like continuously constant repetition I used for DT and IDT because I knew that I can't remember all these details so much. So I focused on, uh, like uh, I had created a base structure of the sections, and then I kept repeating that. And then I worked with one of my friend for discussion, and then for asking me questions. So in that way, when you keep doing it for many days, it slowly sinks into your memory, and then you keep practicing the questions with that memory. You can keep improving. So for DT and IDT, one thing is you keep so once you keep uh, once you make a structure and keep repeating that structure every day, it helps you to recall also. Then you don't need a pen and paper to recall. You can even start recalling from your mind. So even when you're simply sitting, you'll be like, okay, this section, what was there in this section, and you recollect. And then if you're missing out on something, you go and take your book and then check. So you create a base structure and keep repeating it so much that, and then at any time when you're idly sitting, like when I had to travel in the bus, that time I had used for recollecting, okay, so what was going on in this section, or this entire chapter I had given it a structure, and in this part, okay, what was there. So then that entire chapter comes to your mind and it's all in your fingertips. So for DT and IDT, that's what I did.
Thank you.
Now, I think we're going back to the general approach now. The subject specific tips are really helpful, and that is exactly what I wanted for everyone. Because as I said during the morning session, what we keep teaching is the same, but how the students adopt it makes all the difference. That is the reason. That is the difference between a regular student and super student. The way you picked up things are exactly the way we intended them to do. So that is one super advantage you have. Now, in terms of summarizing the journey, because for me, they're at point A, point B is the exam, because of which they reach to the point CA. So now from here, we have probably 6 weeks. They might get postponed, but then we want to finish everything by April 30th, because my game ends at April 30th. April 30th, all of this are going to be ready to clear whenever the exam happens. Ready to clear is what we're looking at. So after the May attempt, you were, Okay, Jesus made me see this number 23 along with the countless prayers and support from his family, God and mother. Yeah, this is pure gratitude. I like this first paragraph because, okay, this is interesting. God and my mother led me to this beautiful institution called Himalayan School. Now, there's a great connectivity. You started here and then family, and then you mixed it together and you included us in that. Thank you for this. This is a very, especially this statement. In fact, a true life school. Yeah, cool. This is nice. We'll use this. After my May 22 results, I was determined to ace the CA exams in the next attempt, and my mother received mails from him live school. And how did your mother receive it?
Because actually, I have given my mother's email ID
Okay,
for
in
the
yeah,
ICI.
got it. So hesitant at first, I realized that my self preparation was not getting me anyways. Fair enough, good. And after the consultation call, my parents realized me that fees and investment, which they, okay, which I can also vouch for today. After joining the program, I realized my biggest problem was inertia. Yeah, right word inertia. I keep talking about it. Yes, good. Inertia, inability to plan, and uh, it becomes a technique of color coding and slot studying made it easy to prepare a timetable. I think you're talking about focus block slots here.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So why are you hiding? Because everyone who's in the picture has to clear.
Okay.
Because after this, after the results, they're like, okay, there were 4 girls who watched this. What happened to the results? uh, his emphasis on writing, namely read, analyze, write, raw module, which I'm talking about from today. This is what I'm talking about. While recollecting after 50 minutes, was a game changer. My attitude of observing over perfection, overthinking were challenged. I started something. Why is our I started to get something done, however imperfect it might be. That's a ringtone. No, good one. Yeah. If someone is not able to wake up early, no, try it.
Yeah.
So in short, I got a super student mindset after getting brutal, honest shots from, yeah, cool. The cohort and subject matters were my major motivation to study, achieving similar targets with peer and guidance. I think both your video and testimonial is becoming the new normal. Like probably we'll use it extensively the way we used it for Sri Kirloskar. You're very articulate, and you wrote it well. Like nice, good. Summarize everything. And so now one advantage or disadvantage which they have is they're staying close to me.
Yes.
So
I
the
think it is a
brutality.
big advantage. If I mean, yeah, I'm thankful I don't need to do this again. But if I had to do it, I would do it live any day. Because the impact, the aura of being in live, I realized that it makes so much difference compared to an online thing. There's so much difference of being in live. So you are really blessed in that.
Should I bring her here? We'll think through this. Now, interesting. So, and now that they'll be here with us for the next 7 weeks, they're difficult decisions, both for them individually and also for the parents. Like, I kind of, I'm grateful for the trust they're showing in me, but it's important that this gets reflected on the mark sheet, not at the emotional level. So apart from what we discussed, like you summarize everything that was beautiful and everything is very clearly depicted for them. Can you tell me 3 things which they should definitely do? Definitely, because there are multiple things. If they do these 3 things, they'll clear like within the ecosystem. Because Sri said those 3 things. I think they were very helpful for you. Now, what are Anne's 3 things which which would help us 4 people at least clear? Remaining, I don't know where they are, who are watching, but these are the 4 people who are looking at you literally live face to face. So 3 things which will help all these 4 people clear.
3 things. Okay. So firstly, I would suggest that you follow Sir. I mean, in terms of the whatever techniques are there, right? You try to. I mean, you cannot do it every day 100%, but you try as much as you can in doing them, because those are the things that'll help you. At least it'll help you get over all your mental this thing, and you focus your entire energy on doing those things. That will get you started. And the second thing is, um, aim for concept clarity and a lot of practice. That is very, very important. And third thing would be review whatever you're doing. Is it going in the right track or not? The uh, review with your mentor, review with the uh, past papers. Keep checking, are you going in the right track or not? So yeah, first follow the follow a certain routine or procedure. And second thing is very important in CA exam is concept clarity and writing practice. So that thing is important so that you get those marks. And third thing is you review and you see, are you going in the right track or not? So yeah, this is
Wonderful.
what.
That kind of sums up, and especially like the first point, since you write everything in bold, I kind of put it there. So yeah, I think they got it. Now until now they were not following me, or whatever it is. So now they'll follow me more at least. Yeah. They're
Yeah.
trusting me, but they're trusting me, but they're not following me. Now, trust is thought level, follow is action level, right? So I think you use the right word. And in terms of these three things now, this T, what do you think is the most important for clearing?
I think attention is most important. And then you have sufficient amount of energy because we have so much time which we waste. Like you, so then time is more than time. It's about how deep you go and how much you get done. That is what matters. In terms of CA at least. The thing you have in your head, or in your memory and your understanding. That's what they check in CA. How much time you spent is irrelevant. They don't care, they don't know. But what gets into inside, that is what matters ultimately. So for that you need sufficient. If you have to focus, you need that energy, and to have that energy, you need time. So it comes back to that. But the focus should be: are you paying attention? Are you effectively using the time you're having? That is what is most important. Are you doing those techniques properly? Are you understanding what you're doing? Are you having that clarity? Are you doing things in the right way? So it is all about attention, and then it goes backwards.
Wonderful. Rightly said. Now, this closing, summarizing time, because people listen, but then you have to give them takeaways, like you pack it and take away. All of the students are in a stage of transformation, like again the change. Now, you said multiple things. Like if I have to boil down to one thing, the one thing, what is the biggest change? What is the significant, which has the highest delta? Many things change. Like what is the biggest change in your preparation after joining Technics?
Biggest thing is this: don't think, do. Do. Like that is the biggest change. Like
Right.
we waste so much. For me personally, I waste so much time thinking, analyzing, am I in the right path, blah blah blah. So much of time wasting thinking. You stop thinking, you do. And if you're not able to do, if your mind is irritating you so much, you find someone who will push with you. You catch their hand, you just somehow do. For me, that's what. As long as I kept doing, things started working. And when you do only, you get the confidence. People start seeking confidence in things. But all of this comes when you do only. That's something which I realize. You can't have all these thoughts in your head, or motivating thoughts. They work for a few seconds, but the confidence you get from doing and getting that, meeting that target, getting those marks, that will never come from any video. So the biggest change is to do and not to think. Just keep doing. And you can allot a certain time for strategy and all those things, but after that it should be just doing, no thinking, less thinking at least. So that is my
Did,
change.
did you attend today's mom session by any chance? I think we were discussing this in length all throughout, like thinking and doing and all of that. Great, great. Nailed it. Awesome. Do, don't think. Great. This one. This session, and this is for other students. Like they're already here, they don't have a choice, they can't run away. So now a lot of students find it hard to decide whether to join or not. Like this slow motion, like as if they're building a 30-year strategy for India. They'll keep thinking whether to join it or not. Now, for them, what would you say?
So I can very highly relate to this because I found, I mean, for me personally, it was a hard decision initially because you see everything and you think, can I do it by myself? But then along the way, I realized that I need that help. So I would say you should not think, because always what I realized from sir and from my parents is learning is an investment for your future. So the amount of uh, the things you can learn and the time you can save by making that this thing, it's irrelevant when you see this small time investment is, I mean, whatever you're spending now is irrelevant compared to the things and the mental peace you can achieve now. Like after clearing now, the amount of peace I have, I don't care about what I spend now. It's irrelevant to me. But uh, making that decision is hard. I can understand, but it is very important that at some point of time you have to, like my dad always says, you have to be, you can't be penny wise and pound foolish. So you have to think from the, it doesn't matter as long as you are, spending it for yourself and you at least you see some benefit coming out of it. It's not a bad thing. It's not sunk cost at least.
And you also said that it was a hard decision for you as well, although your parents were supportive. Now, can you tell me three things why it is hard? Like it's what makes it hard? Like what makes it hard to decide? Like why do students normally find it hard, or why did you find it hard? We
So
find it hard to understand.
So, like, I think it's mainly because of the mindset we come from. Like, when you're doing CA, you work in a small firm, you work in, or you come from small. So you start your thinking is small at that point of time. So you don't realize, you don't see the big picture. Most of us, we don't see the big picture. We just see the smaller picture of, okay, it's this much money, or it's this, what's the big deal if it's another attempt, or we keep thinking small. So we when we fail to see the big picture, we make big losses as well. So I think it's that was one reason I was not seeing the big picture, and I was not realizing that it is better to do it with help rather than struggling and doing things alone. But if you have a help and you can do it in a better manner, that's what makes, at least you're doing something better if not alone. So that's what helped me. So it's, yeah, that's one reason why that mindset is a this thing, and that's the main reason why I found it hard. Like my mindset was uh yeah. And then another thing is you compare and you see what is there in market. So when you compare and see, and you think from that monetary angle where you're not seeing the real value proposition. So when you see that same thing is being provided for much lesser amount, so then you will be like, why should I go for this? So that point of time, you have to see what is the amount of value addition that is being provided. That also, that's something which we fail to realize. You just look at the cost, but you don't see how much value you're going to derive out of it. That is also another thing that makes it hard.
Regarding the point number two, it's not even comparison, and because there are many programs in the market, they charge less than 10,000 per year, like less than 10,000 per year. If we have to charge it technically, my hourly cost is more than the yearly cost. Now, if I have to charge it technically, I don't fit that way. My simple fundamental question is, if a student is going through one of the biggest problems, now these students are not random students, they're cleared foundation, they're cleared inter, they have all the right intentions, they went through coaching, they invested 2,000, 3,000 hours into this, few amount of lakhs, and the opportunity cost running into lakhs of rupees. None of this is working. Now, you see a random ad which says that, we'll help you clear with this 10,000 rupees with all that stuff. How can someone believe? Like, the point is, when a chartered accountant says, I'm giving you personal attention for 1 year, at a fundamental level, is it believable? At a fundamental level, like, how can you even expect it to help you? It's like, I'll do an open heart surgery for 10,000. I'll probably restore your eyesight for 5,000 now. This is absolute bullshit right now. I never want to blame the market because at the end of the day, consumer decides, and nobody forces you to buy something. Now, even at the level we are operating, it's not working out. Now, it's not working out because the kind of attention we literally have to do what parents are not able to do for years. And parents are not able to consciously do for years, we definitely have to do what kind of attention it takes. It's like literally adding family members. When somebody talks about that, it's not a cheap problem. It's not a silly little problem. It's not a cheap problem. Now, cheap and best are two different things. Now, it's a very deep solution which is required. So that actually helps us. The reason why we kind of keep it is that we also have to work with a class of people. Now, somebody wants to uh, have a private jet experience with a train ticket. It's not going to happen, right? It means you're not having the right mentality. You're not. You're not. It's like voting for the government for freebies. Now, these are not the kind of decision-making people who should take decisions. You understand that, right? So that way, right now, it's not even in the comparison level. Like it's different, right? It's not even at the comparable part now. Probably, if at initial level, it's a wrong decision where we kind of placed it like Maruti and Honda or something like that. No, now it's Benz or now it's gonna get to Lamborghini now. It's a different level now. People have to sell kidneys to join us. That is the level at which we'll operate. But then we'll fix every other part in the body. Like yeah, we are fixing your heart and brain. So probably at a cost of kidney is what we're talking about because we're so done with this. And because initially when we said okay, invest 10K will help you solve in this manner, like 10,000 for this. Somebody's charging 1,000 rupees. I was like, wow, like literally you want to clear final with 1,000 rupees? Seriously, it's not even a Zoom bloody membership. Like we can't even get a good pen that writes on all of that. So that way we're like so done. And I'm telling you, this model is gonna be the model from here on because students and parents don't want cheap things. Cheap and best are two different things. Education is like solid investment. Medicine and education never opt for anything cheap. Anything else is fine. Medicine and education, don't go for the cheapest medicine. Don't go for the cheapest cost. It will screw your life. It's going to be very, very costly. It's super, super costly when you do for these two things. So that way, the idea is not to make it costly or not to make it cheap. The idea is this is the problem. For this to be solved with this certainty, this is what it is, right? Tomorrow, the question is if I have to ask my student to mentor someone. Now, would you do the same? Like the question is, would you solve somebody's 2 year, 3 year problem for 10,000 rupees where you are a qualified child? I wanted the question is they have. But this way it is working positively. Earlier we were like, okay, people are comparing. Now we're like, this sets the filter. Now but you rightly point out in terms of that, yes, a lot of people do that because everybody talks about because after we came into the picture, the whole of India talks about mentorship. Nobody's a teacher now, everybody's a mentor now.
Yes.
So that way, we're happy with the change and all of that. That's fine. And what's one more thing, and what's one more thing which might it make it hard for the students to find?
Another thing might be, I guess, their current financial situation.
This is a good one.
That
Yes.
that
yes,
is something
yes.
which would
You're right.
make it hard to decide whether to join or not.
So what should be done about this?
I guess maybe take a loan or seek some sort of financial support from someone who can provide it to you. That would make it easier, I guess, or some sort of support might help them, I guess.
No, this is a big decision, because people are not investing what they have. Now you're asking them to invest what they don't have. You understand, right? But a lot of people, the second comparison of prices, the problem is not having it. They have it in the pocket, but they don't want to invest. We're not talking about taking it from someone's pocket and invest it. Now we have like somebody like Suresh, he has an because when he came to me after the result, and I was shocked. I was like, how can you do it? How can you trust us so much? Seriously, you took a hand loan seriously for this? He was like, I knew that there is no other freaking way that I can clear. I did not join one attempt before only for this reason. So for me, it's clear. Whatever I took it, I'm going to require in a couple of months. Now he's operating at a very different level. The big picture thinking is what I appreciate the more about him. The one thing which I realized is there's set a class of people who have it, they use money differently. Who don't have it, they don't take decisions based on the current pocket. They take decisions based on future pocket. How much bigger the pocket you want to fill is how you take decisions, not based on what you have. Because otherwise, finance will always be an issue. Why do you want to make money more money? Is because you don't have money. But then this point is not going to automatically convert into that, right? For you to make more money, you have to invest something. There has to be a layer of investment. You have to invest something which you don't have. So yes, you rightly bought it out. But yeah, whether they kind of take the step or not, at least they should think. It's not about this. It's not about this. It is never a question of what you have. It is always about what you want to have. If you want to make X, if you don't have that X right now, yes, you bridge the gap with this. That is the concept of housing loan, right? Who in India would buy a house without a loan?
Yes.
That's how it is. Now, when you're building something, just like a building a house, you're building a career. Now, that is exactly how it has to happen. Yes, but these insights are super valuable, and you're very articulate in your thinking. I'm liking that. Probably consulting would be a good field for you. Now, apart from what you're interested, somebody in the consulting zone would actually be really keen to have somebody like you, because you're very precise and concise. Like, that's a very good skill. Structured thinking, especially when you talk about companies like BCC, McKinsey, and all, you should be able to break it down in your head without wasting the other person's time. You're doing it very well, very well. You're responding very well. So that way, yeah. Let's come to the third and final question of the day. So in the second part, you spoke about the financial angle. Now, in general, like, okay, somebody for them finance is clear. I think I'm willing to invest. But in general, in terms of recommending it, when I say recommendation, you're not just suggesting it, recommending it. You're like, okay, go do it. So it's a responsible claim. So would you do it? If yes, why?
Yes. So one thing which I wanted to say is, another reason why we realize we don't need mentorship is because we think that we can do it on our own.
Ah,
So that is a very important thing, that when you come to realize that even the realization that you need help is a big thing. So once you realize that, then there would not be any hesitation for you to reach out and seek help. So that, because we are in a system where you think that you have to do everything on your own, you have to achieve everything on your own, we fail to realize that there are people around you who can help you. We don't take that help. So it's very important to realize first that there are things which you cannot do on your own, and it's better to seek help and get it done, because anyway you have to do it, you might as well just get it done. So that's the reason why I would recommend it to others, because when you realize that you don't need, you can't do it on your own, and there is someone who's there who can help you and help you get it done fast and best, why can't you take it?
perfect. I think this is where people have to understand. More than that, they don't understand. Probably it's okay. Like, you made it reasonably articulate and reasonably clear. So there is always a leap of faith which has to happen. You can't trust the process, because the way you trust us right now, you would not have had it before the result. It's hard for anyone, even for us. Like, you can only have reasonable trust. That absolute trust, as you said, regarding the confidence. You can't have confidence to do something. You do something, then you build confidence. Even with trust, also, you experience something. At the end of it is where you kind of trust more. So, and regarding the career clarity questions which you asked, I wanted you to ponder upon that, think through, and revert. Like, text me whenever it is, and then we'll kind of build it. There's something called simple framework. What is simple? Satisfaction, identity, money, power, leisure, excitement. So, using these 5 steps, or using these 5 aspects of life, we'll be able to help people decide what career stream might work for you. So this is there. So before I give you that, I wanted you to think through originally, since you're already in that zone. So from there, we'll see what else can happen. And where are you currently situated? Which particular city, or where are you currently?
No, right now I'm in Chennai.
Oh, great. Acha. Okay. So we'll also see. Probably we'll catch up sometime this year. And regarding the progress, keep me posted. And we'll have one more follow-up conversation on what has to happen once you come back. Then I'll create a framework. Like I think one framework would give you a lot of speed in terms of where you have to go. So we'll decide what is the end goal, 2-year target, 3-year target, and we'll decide 2-3 things which has to happen, 2-3 fields in which you can work, and finally, let's identify the path in terms of what has to happen, the direction of the efforts. From there, you'll be able to accelerate it fast. So I'll also see if I can somehow bring you to Hyderabad at some point in time. So we'll discuss all of that moving forward. But for now, super happy to see you. I'm glad that you guys interacted with each other. So these four people are, officially responsible to you also, officially responsible that they're cracking. Otherwise, see, my model only works when everyone who comes into the ecosystem clears. That's my model. But even if there's one glitch, again, I have to explain. Which I don't want to. So you guys are giving her a commitment.
Yes, you guys can do it, definitely. Like if I can do it, you guys can definitely do it. So just don't think and just do. Just that's what I would always say. Don't doubt yourself so much. Don't think so much. You do and you get confidence. Don't worry at all.
So I've been clicking random screenshots. Half of them are not working. So how about taking a conscious picture?
Yes.
Post something, we'll take a picture. Okay. Nice. Dikshita, what are you? Okay. Should come in a particular way. Let's see.
Enough then.
So thank you, Anne. So these are all part of the club. So we are building a lot of exciting things to update. Probably I'll put a small alumni meet physically or virtually sometime really soon. I'm really looking forward for the next updates.
Yes.
So
I
okay.
really want to meet the people I met virtually live.
Yeah, you should. I can give all of them to you. It's very hard to maintain. And online people are easy. These are all very hard. They look like that, but they're tough maintenance. Tough maintenance.
It's harder for us also.
I can
You have to,
imagine.
you have to respond to that. Smiling. All right, Dan. Okay. Nice meeting you. Thank you very much for having this conversation. I totally loved it, and we'll take this forward from here. So all the very best. This is the starting point. Like CA is not the exit. This is the entry point. A lot of milestones to meet. So let's catch up sometime soon. Okay. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yes. Thank you. Bye. All the best, guys.
Thank you.